Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Harbor on Icebox. Today is day 106 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Harbor is in my opinion one of the stronger agents in the game. He is still pretty hard to use, that's why he isn't picked that often, but still his util is insanely strong to split up the site into different pieces you can take pretty easily. Also his Harbor bubble, so the cove, is a really strong thing you can use to get the defuse in, get the plant in, or just protect yourself from getting out of certain chokes. In general, playing a Harbor on a map like Icebox is a pretty strong thing, because Icebox is a pretty big map where you need a lot of walls and things that block the area off, and Harbor having a recharging wall and the two cascades is perfectly made for a map like Icebox. Starting off with a side defense, Harbor's ult is a pretty strong tool you can use in almost any rounds, especially for retakes. So on defense, you can start off by using your cascade like this to block off the ult orb here in main. You can take the ult orb and then go back. This is a really strong thing you can do almost every round because the wall blocks anyone from being able to see you, and as long as you have a teammate that's trying to shoot the dart here in main every round, you should be pretty safe. Other than that, just playing a little farther back, waiting for the enemies to come in is a pretty good thing. And you can then use your wall as the enemies are coming in, either through side like this. This wall right here is a pretty good one. You can also get it on top of 410, but it allows you to play in a lot of different spots. It also allows you to go all the way close here and hold all the people that are coming out. And since they are slowed, it's going to be harder for them to get out. Another wall you can also use, it is from a similar spot. It is one like this. And it will block off main and also leave a copy for you to go in and hide. This copy right here is pretty spacious. The enemies might expect you, especially if you do it a couple of times in a row. But after you have done it once, you can do that wall again. Don't hide in the copy. And in general, you can then even peek out and get kills on the people that are playing behind you. Other than that, you can also just keep on using the main wall right here as a cascade to stop the enemies from coming in. You can also play pretty aggressive with that one. You can get all the way up here, hold people that are in window. You can even jump spot window here in nest. And in general, you can use Harbor's kit in a lot of different ways to stall the enemies out. For a retake, I recommend you actually use your wall somewhere like this to split up the site into two parts, and then you can get out of screens with a wall like this one. Follow that wall, you can even stop it right here, clear out each part by its own, clear out the site in a couple of different ways. And then as soon as you know where the enemies have planted, you can send another cascade into front side, or if you have another wall, you can use your wall as well, and then use your Harbor bubble on top of the spike and start defusing. It's going to be pretty hard for the enemies to destroy that bubble unless they have they know exactly where you are, and since you have another wall blocking you, it's going to be even harder for them. You can get at least a half of almost every round, and especially if you have a Gecko on your team, you can most of the times even get the full defuse. Something that is also really strong is while you are defusing, your teammates can just go fight the enemies, because most of the times you have split up the site. You can then fight the enemies from a lot of different spots. For example, you can fight through here, you can fight through main, you can even fight through nest from up here. And while your teammates are fighting, the enemies have no chance of spamming you in the Harbor bubble, and you're gonna get a free defuse off. Another really good retake tool is Harbor's ult. Just make sure it is all the way on the site. You can then decide to either go back a little, so it is moving really slowly, or if you think the enemies are going towards main, you can also use it like this and move forward. Switching over towards mid now. Something I like doing on mid almost every round is something like this to take the mid control. With a singular wall like this one, it makes it pretty hard for the enemies to get through it, and you can also play pretty aggressively and make the enemies scared of you pushing in mid. You can also push down tube with that wall. You can also send your duelists to do that almost every round and get a lot of information over the people going B or even A, because you can hear the people pretty well if they are stepping through A or through B from just playing down there, or even going a little closer over to the other side. This is also pretty strong if the enemies have a Viper orb in mid almost every round, where they just place the orb and put it up, so you can check if there is somebody behind it almost all of the time. Other than that, using your wall on mid is not really a thing I recommend. You can do it, but then I recommend you also use it like this on B as well, because like that you stop the enemies from pushing out B, and it allows your teammates to walk all the way up here into this close corner right here, which is a pretty unexpected spot to be in. And as soon as your wall drops, you're gonna have a easy fight on the people that are coming into main, because all of the people that are playing here close are gonna be looking towards this direction, and they're not gonna be ready for you holding here. Again, this is a pretty risky play, so I recommend you have a agent that can have TPs, for example a Yoru, to do that. But other than that, almost any agent can do it, but just don't do it almost every round. And now switching over towards B. On B, you can also use a pretty aggressive wall right here in the beginning of the round. You can use it like this to block off both of the areas where the enemies are gonna come through. And this also allows you to go all the way up here and jump over here and hold the people from up on this box, or even jump over and fight the people that are even deeper in main. This also allows your team to get really close here, break the Sova Dart and fight the people that are close. But again, it is a thing you need to coordinate with your team, so I don't really think it's worth it most of the times. Other than that, you can also send in a cascade in main to stop the enemies from coming in, or you can just wait till the enemies are close and then use a wall like this one. This wall is going to block off the top and the bottom right here, and it's going to make it pretty hard for the enemies to get out, even if there is a Viper wall blocking for them, or if they have flashes to get through the wall. And then again, for the retake, you can use your cascades towards here, and use a bubble close here on the spike, and start defusing. With a cascade like this, it is pretty safe to go for the defuse. Even better if you still have your wall. You can use your wall either through main, as I showed you before, or you can also use your wall like this. A wall like this will still allow the enemies to peek over it, so I still recommend you send a cascade like this. But in general, it makes it pretty hard for the enemies to push out, and especially if you have taken this space here already, if they are coming through the wall, they're going to have a really hard time getting out, and you can just kill them pretty easily. Switching over towards attack, and on attack, we're actually going to start in mid, because something I like to do almost every round is to send my cascade down mid, let it go all the way till here, and then stop it. This allows my team to cross over towards tube, or even if I send my cascade a little further and stop it later, allows them to peek under tube and go through mid, but the enemies have no idea if somebody is actually doing anything in mid. That's why I'm sending it almost every round, to condition the enemies of thinking, yeah, there is nobody going to be there, and then from time to time I'm actually going there, take the space in mid, and get a pretty good fight for myself and my team. And now actually going towards A. On A, you can use a similar cascade on main to also block off the orb from the enemies, and make it harder for the enemies to get back. You can send it all the way till here. It allows you to walk up here on belt pretty easily as well, and you can then spam the people that are trying to go for the orb. Other than that, using your wall in the same way as you would with a Viper wall, like this, and then curving it over to the end, so you also get the rafters area right here, is a pretty good thing. You can get it more precise, but most of the times you don't really need to smoke off that area either way. And then for a side take, you can also split up the site with a cascade like this. Check close here, stop your cascade at the round right there. You are going to be able to clear out the site like this, focus more on the different corners, and then go towards the side. You can then go in with your bubble and start going for a plant. It is a pretty strong thing that you go for a plant on a harbor, because harbor's ult is again pretty strong on taking the site. Like you can see, if I'm trying to go A with a harbor ult, I can get all of the site and even a little more. So the enemies that are playing on site are gonna have a really hard time to get out, and especially combining that with some other util, for example a Sova ult, or just some damaging util or stuns, it is insanely strong to take the site, and while you are farming orbs by going for the orbs in main, in A main and B main, and then actually also going for the plant, and maybe even getting some kills or die, you're gonna get a lot of ult orbs, and since your ult is only 7 ult orbs, you're gonna be on your ult pretty fast. Most of the times already by the 3rd round. Switching over towards mid now, if you want to actually take mid, you can use a wall either like this, that will curve through the upper area right here, and will also block off this door right here. And it will also block you from mid, or you can just use a cascade that does pretty much the same thing, and then use your wall from close here. That will also block off up here, and it will also block off the backside peak from up there as well. And now switching over towards B, if you want to take B main, I recommend you use a harbor cascade like this, so you can isolate the different angles. You can even stop it right here, check if somebody is trying to be close here. Same thing with the angle behind these boxes, or around this corner, or even somebody that's playing AWP on top of yellow here, or aggressive here in B main. It is a pretty strong thing you can do to take the main space, and then you can use a Sova dart behind it, or a Sova drone behind it, or even a fade reveal, or just any reveal in general, or even flash it through it. Other than that, using your wall in a way like this is pretty strong. You wall off close here, you also wall off the top, and you also wall off backside, so it's going to be pretty hard for the enemies to push through. And since your wall also slows, it makes it pretty hard for the enemies to get through it, and even if they try to push through, you can just get a easy spam on them. And then again, you can go for a plant with your harbor bubble. On B, it is actually kind of a risky thing to do because people can just walk through the wall and walk into your bubble. So I recommend you have another teammate that is coming in the bubble with you, just holding the bubble here close, and then you can just go for the plant. For the ult, I would usually recommend it that you use it on A, but you can also use it on B in this way. This will cover behind yellow, right here. It will also cover site, it will also cover the people close here, and it will make it pretty easy in general to take the site. You can also combine that with some other util, by the way. Something about harbor in general is that you can get the site, get the plant, and then even go reflank. It is something I really like doing, especially if I know I have at least 2 teammates that have mollies or something as a plant denial. So I'm going to use all of my util to get to the site, help my team get out, maybe use even another harbor cascade to get out. Start planting, go for the plant. And then I'm just going to go out, go all the way around, even hold flank, and then reflank over mid, which is a pretty strong thing because most of the times the enemies are not going to expect me there because they think, yeah, the harbor was in main, he planted the spike, he has to be somewhere here. And then when I'm coming from mid, I can get an easy fight on the people from behind them because they are not going to expect me. And even if the Killjoy is still alive and she has a turret here in Boiler, I can still just send a cascade down mid to block off the area and then be able to flank the people pretty easily. If I had to give Harbor a rating from S to F, I'd actually give him the S tier. His kit is insanely good for a map like Icebox. He has walls that can block off certain areas. He also has walls that can make the enemies afraid that he is lurking. And also his ability to use a cove to get a safe defuse and plant in is pretty strong on a map like Icebox where you have to defend from so many angles. And when somebody is starting to defuse, you can't really do anything when they are in a harbor bubble because there's still going to be a lot of enemies fighting on the site and trying to fight you. So you have a hard time spraying the bubble at the same time as you are fighting your the teammates of the harbor. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agents and any other maps, write them down in the comments. And if you want to see anything else Valorant related, write it down there as well. And as always, don't forget to like and sub and come say hi to me on Twitch where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day and see you guys very soon. Bye!